Oh my. Capucine, what are we doing?
Oh, vibration.
Vibrations and sound. So we're going to explore vibrations and sound in this episode. We'll talk about eventually we'll get around to talking about the nuts and bolts of frequency and resonance and wave patterns. But I think the more important thing is to understand vibration and how we can use and comprehend it and use it in our daily life.
Ba-ding!
Okay, we're done with the sounds now. Let's get on with the episode.
I want to keep doing sounds. Okay,
No,
continue. Please listen. Speaking of sound, so what I do when I'm moving across the body is I'm listening to, because I use the tuning forks during the hearing what's going on with the field of the body.
mm-hmm.
And I can hear when the sound it has a different sound to it, a different tone. And so I just pay close attention to what that is saying.
Is it like an echo that you sense? Like it's sort of bouncing in or through the body and you just
Well,
you sense it
so
comes
here,
back?
yeah. So hear the tone hear a tone right now. Like hear it,
Mm-hmm.
and then somewhere in the body that has it has a different. It moves either
Modulation. Yeah.
up or down, moves a little. So I can I can hear how it changes,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that it's good or bad. I can just hear the change. And usually that's a key for me to pay attention to that area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, other things.
Surprisingly, I do the same thing when I'm trying to find a stud in a wall. When I'm doing
Really?
construction, yeah, you tap on the wall, you go tap 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 tap. But as you get to a stud, which is
Oh,
just denser in the wall, it goes and then you can locate exactly where it is. But it's because of the density behind the tapping. So
mhm.
maybe the change in pitch that you're hearing is like there's either a density of matter or a density of energy that is just different in that zone.
Well, yes, I think you're right. And I am also experimenting with the sound that is telling me something about like what the physical body, the dense matter is telling me
Mm.
versus different layers of the field of the body,
Mm.
which also have a different tonality to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they all sound slightly different. They don't sound the same, unless all areas are aligned. That's the best way I can describe it.
Mm.
But sometimes if there's something not cooperating or connecting completely, it's not flowing in
Yeah,
the body, then that's obviously it's going to have a different tone at different energetic fields.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
This is interesting. So you can tune into different systems of the body that way.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I
Mm.
still do. So I do Jinshin Jitsu, but that's working with your hands, your fingers on the different meridians throughout the body. Similar to acupuncture without the needles, but still
Yeah.
going through the field. And that also I can feel. Like I can hear and feel like two pulses. Like if you were to put, some pressure on one part of your body, one point in your body, and another point of your body, I can feel when those are not syncing up.
Mm.
And then I stay there until they're syncing up together.
Yeah.
So they have the same sound and tone. So I can tell at that point that things are moving. They're
I think
moving.
Christine has described something like that with Tibetan cranial as well,
Hmm.
where you'll put your hands on both sides like poles,
Right.
and then you'll feel this
Yep.
difference. In music, you'd call it beats because, like, if you're tuning a guitar and it's not quite tuned just right, you'll feel this wow, 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 wow beats until you tune it just right, and then it's a pure tone that
Hmm.
goes all the way through.
No, it's yeah, I mean, and in my own personal experience, how I've used that with myself is um I think I've said this in a couple of different episodes that we've had, that I've been experimenting with doing the silent om sound
Mm-hmm.
internal, just an internal, and I do that throughout my entire body. So the different om chant,
Yeah.
I scan my entire body. It's all quiet, internal. And again, so that I can increase my capacity to attune and listen um, to the subtleties. And
That's cool.
it
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's cool, and I'm trying to make the connection of, so how is that connected to healing? Well, I mean, there's a lot of answers. I'm not going to
Yeah.
try to be, I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of reasons why it's connected to healing, but there's this, I think our bot, not I think, I'm believing more and more that our body has its own sound and its own rhythm and its own vibration. And it's always communicating with us. But because we've become so removed from the sound, we depend on the pain, a pain to tell us, ouch, this something's wrong,
Yeah.
you know?
So yeah, that brings up a good question about healing. Because I've been around people who do sound healing, and I went to a sound healing conference, and I've done a little bit of experimentation on my own. A lot of it seems to be driven from intuition, kind of like what you're saying, where you sense something is amiss, something is off with a particular body part or system, and then, but what do you do? Like, do you just dwell in that area, or do you send light to that area mentally, or do you breathe through it, or um, shamans might do an extraction of that
Mhm.
area, but like, what do you do?
Well, I think there's a couple of ways to answer that depending on the experience and the practitioner. So I'll give you one example. As you know, I also go to an acupuncturist. I was at my acupuncturist, and she was telling me a story about a young man years ago that had damaged his leg. Didn't know if it was broken, but didn't want to go to the doctor. And she is saying to him, well, you probably need to go to the doctor. He says to her,
Yeah.
well, why? What's the doctor going to tell me? Well, the doctor's going to be able to tell you whether it's broken, whether it's sprained. They can look a little bit. That that will help me work with you. But there's some information that I need to know that I visually can't see.
Hmm.
Um, and so he went to the doctor, got a scan. There was it wasn't completely broken, but something was awry. So they had him on a boot.
Hmm.
And so he did both. He did the doctor and the acupuncturist. And the acupuncturist worked on him with him. And then the patient, because he was so determined to heal himself as opposed to just letting it go to the Western medicine, again, not that that's
Hmm.
bad, but the doctor just couldn't believe how quickly he had healed
Hmm.
as a result of that. So your question is, how does that happen? What happens? I think it's it's multiple
Yeah, I
things
think
that
there's a
go into play.
confluence of factors that, yeah, like the willingness of
The
the
willingness,
person, their intention, the intention of the healer,
the
um,
patience.
Yeah, the patient,
ha- having
their
having
belief system is in
having
there.
having patience, not
Oh,
just
patience.
patient, but
Yeah,
having the patience to work through something. And
yeah.
my acupuncturist made a good point. She said, just nowadays, people are just in a hurry.
Hmm.
If something is not feeling right, it doesn't feel good. Can you
Yeah.
fix it pretty quick? Can
Yeah,
you
take a drug.
can you
Yeah.
get this out of my brain so I'm not experiencing either the pain or the discomfort?
Yeah.
So it does require some patience, to work through how your body. I think it requires some patience and a willingness, and then a depth of curiosity. And I think those things combined then open up the doorway to intuition.
Hmm.
Because then you're saying to yourself, I'm willing to listen, to give attention to what is going on. So you start paying attention to the signals. And how does that connect to sound and healing? Again, you're just more attuned, even that word is a sound word,
Yeah.
more attuned to what is being communicated. It's important to ask, what's your intention? Like, where do you want to go with this? And it depends. Like, I really listen to, what is the person saying? Well, everyone
Hmm.
wants calm, they want to heal. I mean, those are all good words. I want pain to be gone, and whatever things.
Yeah.
But it came to me this morning. I thought healing is about karma, because if you can have an
Hmm.
action word connected to healing, like my word with, our dear friend Nicole was, she was giving me all of her intentions. And what I heard was, oh, so you want your whole body, you want to cooperate with your body.
Yeah, that's a key word right there. Cooperate with. I think, and what I found, oh man, Christine asked me a really good question not too long ago. Because I hurt my foot. Well, yeah, you know the story.
Yes.
I hurt my foot playing pickleball of all things. But the ways that she's amazing. She kind of pokes around, not at the foot, but in my psyche. She pokes around
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, "So were you trying to be 17 and sprinting around on the court?" And I thought, damn it, yeah. Yeah. I was trying to prove to my brother who was there, prove to my sister-in-law that I'm still, and prove to myself that I can
Mm-hmm.
still run around the court and I'm not 17 anymore. And so my foot gave out as feet do in some stressful situation like that. But the mental part of that injury and the mental part of the healing was just as important as, getting the soul support and going to the doctor and icing it and doing all of this stuff. Yeah, I did all of those support things, but it was important to address both the element, the karmic element that even led to me overstressing the foot in the first place, and then the karmic element that might have gotten in the way of healing quicker,
Mm-hmm.
faster,
No,
stronger.
no, that's exactly how I'm seeing it, is that there's a different, like, for example, when I was using the word cooperation, or the example that you gave, the way that's connected to karma. Well, just let me start it in a different way. Think of the word allow. That's an action word.
Hmm.
I mean, there's some action there. And then think of the word fluid. I want things to be fluid. That's another, you can see the activity behind that.
Yeah.
Now add the word cooperation. Like, I want to cooperate with, as
Yeah.
opposed
There's like a,
to as opposed to I just want to allow, or I want to have fluidity.
yeah.
So cooperation has another level of action that the individual must take for there to be healing.
There's a
As
partnership in
there's a,
cooperation.
there
Yeah.
is there's an individual responsibility,
Harmonizing.
right? That's there. And sometimes when we want healing and we want something to happen to us, it's difficult to heal completely, permanent healing, I would say, when we remove ourselves from part of the activity.
Hmm.
So,
What do you
yeah,
mean remove ourselves?
we'll remove ourselves from the responsibility of having some part in the healing.
Oh, when we
Right.
leave it up to somebody else to
Well,
heal
yeah.
us,
Can
or
you please heal me? Can you take this
yeah,
pain away from me?
right.
Can you, because I really just want it to be, I don't want pain, or I just want things to flow.
Yeah, fix it.
Permanent healing, if you want that, if you really want to dive deeply into um, the seed idea behind your illness or your whatever is going on, it does require the action of you saying, so what is my part? What is my responsibility
Hmm.
in also facilitating this healing? And that does require patience.
Yeah.
And then back to your word, sound, again connecting to sound, it's uh it's all part of the greater depth of how intuition works. So
So the
go ahead.
so both the physical healing mechanisms that you're using, and also the mental, the thought alignment, and the emotional alignment, and the belief system alignment, all of those have to be cooperating in synchrony. And if one of them is like, no, actually, I don't really want to heal because I'm getting a lot of mileage out of this injury, or something awry in that
Mm-hmm.
flow and that fluidity, it's
Right.
not going to heal as fast, or it's not going to heal as well, or might not heal at all. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and man, I have run across that where somebody's getting, and I have done that too, where
Right.
I'm
I
getting a
have
little
two.
mileage out of this thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's no fun to see that and admit that, but yeah, I get to take a little break. There was a great, man, this was interesting. I was a lot younger. I think I was maybe 16 or so, 15, 16. And my brother and I, all three brothers, we were working on a construction project together. Just in the summers, my parents and we would go down and we'd fix up these houses in North Carolina. And it was hot, sweaty, nasty, long hour work. Like all day we would work on these things. And there was a little bit of grumbling and like, man, I need a break kind of thing. And I remember my brother, um, he had an injury. He had an eye injury. He ran out of the house too fast and hit some wood that was sticking out of the back of a truck, and bam.
Ouch.
And we ended up taking him to the hospital, and it was a whole thing. But he had to sit it out for a couple of days while his eye, like we had to assess, is he going to be blind or what? And I remember very clearly I was taking some siding out of a room, some wooden siding, and I was smashing it with a hammer, and I was kind of mad. And I remember very clearly thinking, wish I could take a break like he's taking a break. I hit this board and it splintered and it flew into my eye.
Oh my.
And it shat. I had hard contact lenses at the time, and it hit my contact lens, broke the hard contact lens in
Oh
my
my.
eye, which then
Ouch.
scarred this eye over here, scarred this eye across the cornea. I had a corneal laceration,
Oh wow.
like pretty deep. I still have the scar across my eye. I see double vision out of that eye. Yeah, from that
Wow.
that little thought, or very not so little thought, very potent thought of, I really want to take a break like Pio is taking a break. Bam!
Wow.
That early on taught me a couple of things. The power of thought, the power of emotional backed thought,
Mm-hmm.
and how fast things can actually manifest when things are in alignment. When there's the opportunity for that flow, positive or negative, things can happen really fast. Like you can heal really fast, and you can also get injured really fast when things line up.
Yeah.
Whatever the things might be, they line up and boom. That's how
Wow.
miracles can happen, and that's how terrible accidents can happen.
So now I'm going to ask you a couple questions about that. So the healing part, how did that like what how did how did that come about? I mean, other than you lived through the pain, you had to go to the doctor,
Mm,
time heals, your
yeah,
eye scarred over. I mean, whatever happened. But
yeah.
so what is the other than learning something about how thoughts are, is that the healing, or does your body also have to be in alignment with that learning lesson?
I would say everything has to be in alignment because I still have the scar, and I think scar tissue like that, or I have scar tissue over here. I got various scars on my body from various things. Those are kind of like tattoos
Hmm.
of an event. And the events are stories. And the stories, we tend to, like I just told that story again, we tend to tell these stories over and over for whatever reason. You get a laugh out of it, or you make a point out of it, or it's a useful story somehow. And I think those stories have something to do with how long it takes to heal. If you're using that story somehow,
Mm, that's a good point.
it's going to the injury, the scar, the something, the trauma is going to stay in your body because you still need it.
Yeah. Now that's a
It's an
really
odd thought, but
good point.
I have seen it over and over with people who have injuries or scars from things, and yeah, it sounds almost a little blame the victim-y. Um, but yeah, there's that storytelling part of an injury and of recuperation that, and some more enlightened doctors they'll suggest to a patient to tell a different story, you know,
Mhm.
or whatever trauma happened to you, try reframing it just even slightly and frame it differently, present it differently, tell it differently,
Mhm.
um, or don't tell it at all. You know,
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
if you were abused as a child, um, maybe don't tell the story because when you relive it, you're kind of energizing that tattoo, that identity, that trauma again and again and again.
Yeah, and that
Or at
goes
least
back
like change the story and so
that
it has
goes
a better outcome.
well, that goes back to thoughts are real, thoughts are, but
Yeah,
that also has a lot of energy, which is a form of sound, which is a form of, it has a
your
vibration
voice.
to it,
Yeah,
right? It has, it carries a signature.
yeah,
And with that, it carries either a memory or, but it has its own certain tone, and that tone will keep reoccurring and reoccurring and reoccurring.
yeah.
And I saw an example of how to change that. There's this was a documentary done on this woman. She's an artist, who had been physically, and I don't mean to do any triggers for anybody, but this is part of her story. And she publicly told this story, but she was, as a child, harmed horrifically bad, really bad. And how she tells her healing story is exactly what you're saying.
Mm,
Is she would say what was taken from me was only taken from my body, but it
mm,
wasn't really taken from me. And so she had to
yeah,
reframe how the violence was upon something that, yes, is hers, but yet she could also, who really she is was the thing that was stronger and greater than what was caused to the body. And so she learned how to change the tone of the story
Yeah. Yeah.
and then channeled that into I mean, just expressively beautiful artwork. And then
Hmm. Wow.
even as she tells the story, I mean, just looking at her, she's radiant, she's beautiful, she's light. I mean, she's like light.
Hmm.
She's not carrying what was horrible to her,
Yeah.
but yet it's also part of her experience.
Yeah. It's the
And
stories. Wow. I got so many thoughts on this. Um, hmm. Last night, Alexandra went to a lecture by Yeonmi Park. Do you remember her? She was the girl who defected from North
yes,
Korea
yes,
at 13, and her
yes,
sis got her sister out, and her eventually her mother. And just a horrific story.
yes.
She went to that lecture, and she actually met Yeonmi Park, shook her hand, and had a short exchange. It was on campus, on MSU's campus. She was profoundly affected by this and by the story. But she did say that I think she's been everywhere on the planet telling this story. This is her story, and she tells it over and over and over and over. Um, and Alexandra she could tell that she's told this story many times. She said uh, the malnutrition and the abuse has taken its toll on her physical form.
Mhm,
Um, she's just a wisp of a person, just very slight, and
mhm.
it looked like probably in pain in different ways. But still, she's out there telling this story, presenting this story. So in her case, I think, the her story is her life, and that her life is that story. But she also has a mission because of that story.
Mhm.
She wants to get out there, and she needs and wants to tell this story to the world. She's been on Joe Rogan and radio shows and to tell this story. So I think there's something about the mission that energizes and heals somebody, or can sustain somebody also. Even though they're presenting this horrific story that's kind of echoing in their body, in their tissue, in their mind, in their belief systems, the mission is counteracting that. They're like, the mission drive is up, and the terribleness is pressing down, but there's this confluence of forces that's going on.
Well, and just imagine the voice of how she has processed and is now communicating. So even that is a sound.
Hmm.
I mean, you've heard people who maybe have not processed things completely, and the way
Yeah.
they communicate and the way they sound, it isn't it there's anger to it, or
Yeah, there's
there's
a
a
tonality, yeah, that's
that
different.
right. So
Yeah.
even that has that, and the intent behind that has a message that can elevate, help someone sift through their own things,
Hmm.
reflect whether they resonate. I mean, all of those are words that are sound related,
Yeah.
that this young woman is sharing and healing herself, as well as doing her best to convey something in the hopes of healing others.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and then here comes the other mystery part. Well, so how did that affect your daughter? What is she doing with that vibration that still lingered, that palpable
Yeah.
message?
And the 300 other people that were in the
Right.
room, how is that going to reverberate and echo in
Mhm.
them for years to come?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Sound, that transmission of sound. There are even systems where you can record your voice and send it to this analysis system,
Yeah.
and they'll analyze the frequencies in your voice, and they can tell what systems are either ailing or weakened or what nutritional balances are off, something they can analyze the tonality of your voice and what frequencies are missing, which ones are weak and which ones are strong. I find that really fascinating as well. I think that's going to be the future of medicine as
Yeah.
well.
I,
There's systems, you know,
mhm.
you can look at somebody's face, you can look at their posture, and you can tell what's going on in their physiology. But man, listening to their voice is awesome.
Oh
You
yeah.
know? Yeah.
And or um this is my son is really, really talk about attunement, very good at this. He can read a room really well.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
could he could read the energy. I mean, I noticed this when he was an infant. You know, his dad was holding him in his arm, and there was this man that was part of the where we lived that took care of the grounds and whatnot. And I just I didn't I had a dislike for him. I was really weary of this man. And this guy always wanted to hold Dominic or, you know, be with, I mean, again, I don't know anything about the guy. I just knew
Hmm. Oh, kids know. Yeah.
Dominic would turn his body completely away from him.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, not having anything to do with whatever I'm feeling, I'm sensing here.
Yeah.
And as a grown man, he he's pretty good about nailing things. It's like, yeah, no,
Hmm.
and very confident about what he interprets almost quickly. And I'm always and talk about sound. Like one of the things with Dominic when he was little, he loves music as well. But there was one of the Star Wars um, soundtracks. He'd listen to that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And when I knew that he really had a keen ear for things, was he'd say, "Mom, did you hear that little instrument do that one thing right there?"
Yeah.
And how that like played. And it's like he was what 6 years old at the time or seven. I'm
Hmm.
thinking,
You
wow,
can pick out
that's
the piccolo part
you could
and
pick
you
it.
know.
And why did
Yeah.
it though? And did you hear how that did this to the rest of the music? And I thought, oh God, this kid's pretty amazing. But I think all of us have that. All of us have that capacity. Some of us
Yeah. Yeah.
more attuned to it, but especially children. Oh boy,
Yeah.
they've got their that high antenna. They've got a radar that's really well.
Yeah.
We should all be paying attention to.
I think it's especially hard to hear your own voice. Some people really don't like to hear their own voice, or you'll record them and then you'll play it back for them, and you go, "Yeah, this sounds great," and they'll go, "Oh my God, that's how I sound."
That's right.
That's terrible. When I
Thank you,
was
Paul. Thank
first
you, Paul,
started
for
doing,
bringing that up.
yeah, when I first started doing audio recording and engineering, that was pretty common. People go, "That's what I sound like." Ugh. Oh no. And you have to convince them that, you know, the bone conduction of your skull and all of that changes how you hear yourself versus just the sound coming out of your mouth moving air particles in waves that impact somebody else's eardrum. It's a very different system, very different mediums that they're moving through
Mm.
and propagating through. And once you get used to it, you'll go, okay, I guess it's not that bad. And then you can
You
start playing with it and fine tuning it.
you did some kind of writing paper, some kind of stuff, academic things around
Mm,
sound.
I did, yeah.
You did. So I
Dis
want
did my dissertation on
and I
sound and healing. Yeah.
and I did a few research papers on from a different perspective. Like I did one on silence
Ooh, yeah.
and the
The
healing of
opposite. So,
silence. Right, right.
yeah.
So I think we all
Actually,
approach.
not the opposite. Yeah.
Well, I think there's some overlays. But
Yeah.
again, how I think all of them have something very interesting for us to, again, attune to. So tell me, Paul,
Hmm.
what can we be a little bit academic for a little bit?
A little more technical.
Let's bore people a little bit with some things that
Hey, 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 this is interesting stuff. I mean, if you're
I'm
going to
listening.
talk about sound and vibration, you got to
I'm
know
listening, Paul. I'm
what,
listening.
yeah.
Now tell me, right?
What is it? Yeah.
Because I like science knowledge too about sound.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Where are we
Um,
at? Where are we at with?
well, one thing I think we should start with is there's a little bit of a difference or a distinction between sound and vibration. Um, when somebody says sound, it sounds like this, or your voice is this sound, and here's this music. We're talking about what your ear can actually pick up, and specifically, we're talking about what the human ear, your human ear, can detect, and there's a just this narrow little range of vibrations of frequencies that our hearing can pick up. 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Cycles per second is hertz, which means there's sound and vibration are these cycling compressions and rarefactions it's like a slinky. If you watch a slinky go downstairs, or if you dangle a slinky, you'll see that boing 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 up and down motion. That's essentially what a sound wave is doing. There's a compression, and then there's a easing of the compression, and then there's a compression and easing, and we call that a cycle. Just one compression and one rarefaction. But sound is just that 20 to 20K vibration range. Vibration and frequency and waves, those are all kind of, those need definitions as well. A vibration is just anything that's fluctuating up and down, just cyclic, alternating, pulsing. And then frequency is just how fast it's doing that. So when we say it's good to get proper terminology. I'm kind of a stickler about that. So
Yes,
a
Paul. I
frequency would
know
be
that you
high
are.
or low pitch, or high or low. Um, you'd say how many cycles per second it's vibrating, it's pulsing, or it's
Mhm.
alternating like that. That would be the pitch. The wave is just the shape of the waveform. So you'd say um,
So
it's
pause right there because
okay.
this
You're gonna slow me down.
I'm
Yeah,
going to slow you down a bit.
yeah,
Um, that's what practitioners do when they're checking, listening for your pulse.
yeah, yeah. Like a pulse
There you go.
is an alternating
Right.
pressure relaxation kind of thing. So you
And
could.
medical practitioners, especially acupuncturists, they really listen for what that is saying about what's going on in the body.
Hmm.
And then in the Western medicine, they listen for beats, right? So,
Hmm.
so different practitioners listen to the pulse for different things.
Yeah, an acupuncturist will listen to the five pulses
Hmm.
of in the body, different kinds of pulses, and diagnose from that. Different animals will have different ranges. Like dogs notoriously can hear way up high, really high frequencies. So very, very, very tiny wave forms packed together is a very high pitch. And elephants can hear way down into the delta range, down into like 2 to 4, maybe 5 hertz cycles per second, which to us sounds just like thump, 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 thump. But to them, it registers as a sound. They can feel it through their hoofs, I think, through their feet. Dolphins, we talked before about dolphins and how that, I don't know why balloons just came up. That's great. We got to leave that in.
We're gonna have
Um,
to.
Dolphins are they can hear between 75, but way up, like triple what dogs can hear in the upper range. So things that we can't even imagine hearing, they can tune into. Um,
And then again, I'm going to pause you for here because you talked about dolphins, and I think of
mhm.
water and then how sound moves through water. That would be
Yeah.
another conversation, but
Yeah,
just
the denser
side
the
note.
thing, the easier the sound or vibration can move through it. Air is actually not a very good propagator of vibration of sound. It it absorbs it, but then it doesn't pass it on very efficiently. So, like if somebody's talking in a normal voice outside in the driveway, you're probably not going to hear them very distinctly.
Mhm.
Whereas if they were that distance in water and they just tapped on something, you'd easily hear that tap, tap, tap.
Mm.
And whales, like blue whales notoriously, they can listen to each other on opposite sides of the earth.
Mhm.
They can they go down to a particular density of water and they sing their whale songs. And whales on the other side, thousands of miles away, can
Mhm.
hear it as if they're right next to each other.
So I've never been in one, but I'm imagining being in a submarine and then the technology
Yeah.
that was developed for submarines to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say the right word, Paul? To be able to
Hear, yeah.
pick up,
Detect.
to detect, to pick up on um, measures of frequency that are moving through the water.
Yeah, and location also. Like
Location.
we hear a boat. Where is the boat?
Mm-hmm.
Is it above us? Is it over to the right or to the left?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to know those things, and you can triangulate sound depending on is the pitch rising at or as you turn towards it, or is the pitch going down as you turn towards it? Then you can
Mm-hmm.
tell if it's moving away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. What we started talking about was all of the healing aspects of sound,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that really gets into things like mm, harmonizing with a wave form or resonant frequencies. Those are those are more like when everything's all lined up very nicely, whether it's mental, emotional, and physical, or various physical aspects are all lined up. Then we have what you'd call resonant frequencies. And I think those are typically what we associate with healing is resonances. Resonance, a good example, easy example of resonance is when you go into a bathroom that's all tile and you sing some notes and you hit that one note that just makes the whole room ring. That's a
Mm-hmm.
resonant frequency. And so you can experiment around until you find just the right frequency of something that makes a buzz extra loud or extra strong, and that's going to be a resonant frequency. Or if you're doing sound healing, and you're maybe holding a bowl over somebody or
Mm-hmm.
some kind of device or the tuning forks, and you find some place where it's either extra, like it feels reinforced, then that's going to be a resonance. And if it feels dampened and kind of shut down or squelched a little bit, then that's going to be more like a wave collisions going on there that aren't resonant
Right.
or chaotic, or something's going on there. So I think that's how you're detecting things with these waves.
There's a Sinead O'Connor, the wonderful voice that she has. She's now gone. She's not with us anymore, but her music still stays with us. There's a beautiful song, if you've not heard it. It's called In This Heart. And talk about harmony. There's just this layer of different voices. Her voice comes in, and then another layer of a different male voice, another male voice. But if you want to hear harmony in a song,
Hmm.
please, In This Heart. It's I would love for it to be played at my funeral. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like if I've got a lot of people there, they can listen to that song. It's just fascinating. But it's resonating, it's healing, it's sorrowful. Like it shows the emotion, but it's also because of the harmonies, it has so much light and hope in it at the same time.
Hmm.
And so when I think of what you're talking about, this resonant frequency, it comes in so many different forms. So you don't have to be laying there on a table getting some sound healing, although that's very nice. You can hear
Hmm.
it with so many different artists who have again an attunement to that
Yeah.
and how they express it. It's
Yeah.
you go someplace else with
Yeah.
their
A good
music.
artist a good musician will be able to sense the emotional level
Mhm.
of people, maybe in a universal kind of emotion, and then capture and then write towards that universal emotion and
Mhm.
match it. So then when we hear the music, we it's it pings on that resonant frequency of the emotions in us, and we'll feel sad or we'll feel elated or empowered or whatever it synchronizes with and resonates with. And that's a really powerful use of resonant frequencies there.
Mhm. Mhm. Keep going, Paul. Keep
Oh yeah.
interrupting you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all
Um,
right. Continue.
okay.
Continue.
Well, yeah, I got
Go
a
ahead.
lot I could say
I
about sound.
know you can.
Um, we've talked about pyramids before too, many times. Our
Favorite
favorites,
subject. Favorite
favorite
subject.
subject. Um, there's whenever you have a geometric form, a very precise geometric form, you have the opportunity to have very precise wave patterns that either echo or trapped within it or are produced by it. And it's fascinating to see what you can produce from either a cylinder or a sphere or from a pyramid shaped thing or tetrahedrons. All of them they'll both absorb sound or vibration, and then they'll also capture it and vibrate it and resonate it, and then they'll also release vibrations and waveforms in really cool ways. Cymatics is a great study of that, where you've probably seen some of these pictures where you've got a metal plate. Hans Jenny was like the founder of this, and you've got a metal plate and you put some sand or
Mhm.
some kind of something on there, oil. You can do it with that or water, and you vibrate that plate, and it'll come up with these really amazing, very symmetrical shapes based on the pitch, based
Mhm.
on the the wave pattern that you're feeding into and vibrating that plate at. And the theory is that um, all of our forms, human forms, everything is essentially a vibration.
Mhm.
And it's made out of stuff that vibrates. And so, therefore, you could find the resonant frequencies that are both captured and are supporting the integrity of that form. And if something impinges on that resonating frequency package, some vibration interferes with that pattern, then there'll be illness, sickness, or destruction of some sort. And to bring it back into wholeness and healing, you you need to restore that intrinsic resonant frequency package that it has.
Our body is amazing.
Yeah.
It
So we
was
have wave collisions, we have standing waves and scalar waves and all kinds of wave theory, but essentially that's what we're doing with sound healing and um, understanding sound and understanding vibration, which is the broader idea of things pulsing, things
Mhm.
fluctuating
Mhm.
at various frequencies, how to support those.
Well, let's think of the intelligence of, let's say, a kidney or the heart,
Mm-hmm.
or our skin, anything. I mean, just think of
Yeah.
the
Genetics, even, our DNA, it has a
there's
particular frequency that it
right, right.
both would respond to, that would destroy it, cancer cells. There's really interesting research that I came across, a lot of it actually, of people experimenting with particular frequencies that you can send at particular kinds of cancer cells. And the cancer cells just, they cannot sustain their integrity. They cannot keep their cell structure and they just burst.
Hmm.
Whereas the other cells around them are not those cells. And so they have a different resonant frequency.
Hmm.
The the classic example of a resonant frequency that you can vibrate to the point of destruction is the wine glass test. You know, Ella, who was it? Ella Fitzgerald? She's
I
ba boop 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 ba 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 ba,
and
and she'd
yep,
sing
and
that note
shattered.
really, yeah, and then
Plastic shattered.
the wine glass shatters. That's what you can do with various cell types. You can shatter them, or on the flip side, you can facilitate their propagation and their healing and their integration and coordinated arrangement. So you can make tissue grow as well.
All right, I'm gonna share a story about that.
Yeah,
Ready? Ready for this
I'm
personal
ready. Hang
story?
on, let me buckle in here.
Buckle in. This may be a woo woo. This may be alert, alert. It may be a woo woo for
Oh,
some
like we never go
listeners.
there. Yeah.
So buckle in. Again, one of my own individual sessions with myself, doing my own healing. Um, I place myself in a deeper, deeper, deeper state. Um, okay, let's see. Where do I begin here? Deep state. Just
You're
imagine
drifting down
I'm
deeper and
drifting
deeper.
deeper, deeper, deeper. I'm in a deep, deep state. And here's the visual. I'm in moving into this chamber, this deep, deep chamber, which is me laying on what appeared to be like a stone slab. And these huge, tall, tall, tall light figures surrounding me. So it almost felt like I was on an operating table.
Hmm.
And then the next thing is that I'm seeing black stuff being pulled out from the top of my head.
Hmm.
And I remember as I'm participating in this, I'm thinking, a lot of gunk is being removed from me. It's being removed. There's more to that story, but that's all I'll tell for now. As I came back, and as again, we're talking about stories and experiences, I'm sharing that story now because I firmly believe that there were, I call them my crew. I think all of us have a crew.
Hmm.
My, my,
Guardians,
whatever word you want to use,
angels, or yeah, we
whatever you
can
want to
call them
use.
different
I
things.
just call my, I call them my crew.
Yeah.
Um, were helping to facilitate energetically
Hmm.
another form of release that I was experiencing. I was going through another transition, transformation, whatever you want to call it. I was going through another one of those periods in my life cycle. And I remember the one sound that was as clear as a bell to me was it's just this steady but very high hum. And it's almost like that was my anesthesia. Like this is, we're going to put you under a little bit,
Yeah,
but at
yeah,
the same time, this is also going to help heal.
yeah.
Why am I telling you that story now? Well, again, kind of weaving all of these little stories we're sharing right now is that whether you want to understand the technicalities of what resonant waves, standing waves, scalar waves, octaves, frequency, you can understand that. And I cannot verbatim describe it the way you would, Paul. But what I can say is that I've experienced everything that you just said in multiple different scenarios in my life. And that is, um, I'm blessed, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I know that I'm continuing my journey to explore that even more. But there's something about how every single one of us as humans are operating in this world. Like right now, everyone is being helped by a crew member
Hmm.
energetically. Everyone.
Yeah.
Even if it seems like you're not, even if you're going through pain, even if you're going through a hard time, even if, you have a horrific experience, there's still some level of healing that is occurring. And my hope is that every human at some point in our evolution, this may not happen in our lifetime right now, but I do believe that we'll all be able to come to that point where we're just attuned to it
Mm.
on such a higher level. So we'll understand all of this. We'll understand it in a way that's not hocus pocus. And it's also not going to be scientific. It's going to be just what it is.
Yeah. I think there's a way that as we evolve as a species, we'll be able to tune into a broader range of frequencies, like the dolphins can, and dogs and various animals have access to a broader range of frequencies than we do. We've got a pretty narrow little focus of
Right.
sound, and we tend to disregard other vibrations that are not in our visual spectrum range or in our auditory spectral range. Some people have tuned their abilities to be able to feel emotion. Like you were talking about, your son could feel a room, could feel the emotions coming from people. Other people can tune into intuition, which I think is a frequency. It's a particular bandwidth of frequencies that, like radio signals, you can tune a radio into a radio signal. Intuitive reports, that is a bandwidth of frequencies that you can tune into the akashic records. So, I think as we evolve, we'll be expanding our capacity and our ability to tune into, and then also use these frequencies and for healing or for construction or for transmutation and and further development of personally and as a species.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The question is, can do you believe that a healer, someone can come in and heal something with and totally remove that? Like, oh my God, you are healed. Like we hear,
Mm.
someone's been healed. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that let's see, do you believe that that can happen? Or, and this is my bias, or do you believe that um, the person that's being healed has to have some part in that healing?
That's what I think. I think for anything to be sustained, it would have to have the participation of the person who is healing.
Mhm.
You can induce, like with those cymatics experiments, you can induce little sand grains to dance in a particular coordinated pattern, a beautiful mosaic. But as soon as you turn that sound off, they just bloop, fall into a lump of sand. So I think that demonstrates that whole principle of a healer can come in and say, I am doing this magical healing on you, and now you're healed. But if the person being healed is not able to support and continue that resonant frequency, it just it goes right back to how it was
Right.
before.
So I
They
think
might
so.
have a temporary fix, temporary relief from pain, but if
Mhm.
they're not changing their belief system, which I think is like a bowl, basically, your beliefs are like a bowl, and you pour in these beliefs, you can take some out, whatever your collection of beliefs is.
Mhm.
Um, that's what's going to sustain your healing or not. It's going to
Mhm.
interfere with your healing. So that's my long answer to your short
No,
question.
no, because I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I do believe I'm going to lean towards that. Like, but again, I started off with saying that that was my bias as well.
Yeah.
I've seen whatever kind of healing practitioner you are, Western medicine, shamanic, sound healing, acupuncture, whatever it is. Uh, I've I've seen individuals that have that are dependent on that thing or that person or that practitioner to be the
Hmm.
person that will take it away from them.
My savior. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've also seen people that have been cooperative. It's a partnership.
You've seen also people that they're just always looking for the thing that's going to fix me. You
Mhm.
know, they're going to try this modality. They're going to try that modality. They're going to try that modality, and nothing is changing and nothing is fixing me. Um, that that really should tell you that you got to look inside a little bit more and find that little belief system that's hiding around a corner
Yeah.
downstairs in a closet that is that's still
It
working
still
its
lingers. It's still
thing,
lingering
yeah,
there.
and it's keeping things in a particular pattern. It's
Yeah.
still sounding, it's still doing its little thump thump thump, and that's resonating in your body, and it's sustaining a particular pattern that's going on. We got to root out those beliefs that are counter.
So another question. You mentioned something about different vibrations that are coordinated
Mm-hmm.
versus different vibrations that are not coordinated, that are more neutral. How does that fit in? How do either one what are those?
Yeah.
And what how do those facilitate healing and or not facilitate healing?
Well, so if you're, we go back to that idea of wave patterns. Waves are just, like waves on the ocean. Um, you can have waves that are in synchrony. Everything's fine, everything's good, everything blends nicely there. Or you can have some waves that crash into each other and smash into each other. And so that would be not coordinated. Um, And you can have whatever the magnitude of the wave is. If it's just like a little ripple, maybe nothing really destructive or constructive can happen. But if you've got big amplitude waves smashing into each other or building up an energy level, then you can have both um, constructive or destructive things that happen because of big amplitude waves colliding or synchronizing. Tesla had a famous little tapping machine. I don't know if you heard about this thing. You can strap it to a beam. And if you just do ping, 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 ping at a particular frequency, resonant frequency of the building, you could reduce that building to rubble after not very long, just because the
Mm.
vibration resonates up, it's trapped. Another one follows it, magnifies the first one. Another one follows it,
Whoosh.
magnifies the first one, and you just
Yeah.
blow up that whole thing or just shatter it. So resonance can both heal if you've got a template of a beautiful healing pattern and you're supporting that, and somebody can go right along with that, and it it coordinates in a resonance, or you can have resonance that magnifies and shatters something. Either way. So that's the power of coordinated vibrations. You can have resonance. And if they're not coordinated, um, like white noise, or you got in nature, there is a coordination to nature, but there's also a not coordination in nature.
Mm.
You just walk through the woods and you'll see sticks and leaves and birds chirping and sun shining and logs, rotting, and everything is happening all at once, but there are systems, and it's like this nice little neutral mesh of things that are going on.
Mhm.
But if you get wind blowing at a certain frequency and it starts going in a
Right.
circular pattern, then you can have a destructive pattern in nature just as easily as a random pattern is. It can be neutral. So it's fascinating to walk through the world looking for wave patterns, both destructive, constructive, resonant, harmonizing wave patterns, as well as interactions with people, like, am I having a resonant moment with someone here, or are we at dissonance? Our wave patterns crashing into each other right now,
Right.
and start seeing the world in terms of waves and vibration, a
Hmm.
soup of vibration.
And how and what you bring, what I bring to this, either coordinated or potentially I can contribute to something that's more uncoordinated or neutral. So
Hmm.
again, it goes back to
Yeah,
how.
you could calm a situation down
Hmm.
to bring it back to less resonant, possibly destructive, or you could rev it up and to something that could cause lasting change in the country.
Yeah.
So,
Well, as a visual art teacher and working with elementary and high school kids, there was a time, oh my God, I got teased about it so much, but it was my first year teaching many years ago, and we had a fire drill, the good old fashioned fire drill that we probably are all familiar with. Well, here I am screaming at the top of my lungs to get these, fifth grade boys in order. And, you guys, would you get here? Yeah. Everyone had to wait for me. So we failed that. We failed it. We failed the test because of me and
nice.
my inability to control the chaos with my group of kids,
Yeah.
primarily boys. Yeah, that's what I think about. I think I learned my big lesson was from then on, it's like, okay, if I'm not in control, if I don't steer the ship,
Yeah.
everything else is gonna, and then we'll be fighting. Then be these two big waves sitting up against each other.
Right. Yeah. Who's doing the orchestrating here?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Is
That's
there
right.
is there a guiding intelligence, or is it just random? Or are there 20 guiding intelligences just clashing here?
Yeah. No, and from that year, that was my first year teaching. And also it was that first year because it was a K-8 school. And I mean, and my principal used to say, I owe you big time. But because we had scheduling for those people who are in education and or remember being in classes, you had certain minutes, 5 minutes maybe, passing period, 3 to 5 minutes to pass from one class to another. Well, I had no passing periods.
Hmm.
So like kids had to come, like I would leave one group of kids and then another group would come right in.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to very quickly adjust my mindset from I can't bring in the old chaos from the group that's just leaving into my next class. So I had to
Hmm.
learn how to do some
Wipe the
really
slate. Yeah.
super, super quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to make adjustments to the sound, the energy, the everything that was going crazy. But
Yeah.
that's good to know. Vibrations that are coordinated and vibrations that are not coordinated, also
Yeah.
neutral.
I think there's a couple of things that I'd like to leave everyone with. And I'm sure you do as well. Like, overall, what do you want to boil things down to? I think one of the most important things is to develop a different way of seeing and hearing the world. Just little bit by little bit, start to see that everything, everything is transmitting, either capturing, resonating, transmitting, or emanating some kind of vibration. Everything, from the stars all the way down to little rocks in your pathway to your toaster, your desk, everything
Mhm.
is vibrating. And just to get familiar with that principle of, are they are they matching? Are they coordinating? Are they playing well together? Or are they kind of fighting these vibrations? And it's the same with people. Are we coordinating, or are we clashing? And what can we do? How can we help to coordinate our vibrations? And how can we maybe stop a particular pattern before it gets
Yeah.
destructive?
Our dear friend awareness comes back into play
Yeah.
once again into healing.
Yeah.
Um, so, what you're saying, Paul, is how can we be aware of everything?
Everything vibrating. Yeah.
Keep listening. See you, Paul.
See ya.